Another incredible week on the PGA Tour at the Rocket Classic. Aldrich Potgieter picks up his first PGA Tour win. Incredible scenes after a 5-hole playoff to defeat Max Greyserman in dramatic circumstances. The youngest ever South African to win on the PGA Tour too. Incredible scenes. Unbelievable week. We're also going to look back at that quickly. We're going to also touch on the Travellers Championship because I haven't been back in a couple of weeks. Had to go down to Galway last weekend due to a family bereavement. So yeah, difficult times, but we'll make up for it this week. We'll also be looking forward to the John Deere Classic, which goes down tomorrow. And Open qualifying as well also finished up yesterday. 20 more names to the final major of the season at Royal Portrush, right here on the Emerald Isle. So obviously, massively looking forward to that in 2 weeks' time. Lots of shit going on beforehand and to look back on last weekend before we touch on that. But incredible stuff from Aldrich Potgieter. Unbelievable win for him. First on the PGA Tour for the 20-year-old South African. Go check out the interview afterwards. Interesting guy. Speaks so well for his age as well. Deserved it, right? You know, and I was annoyed because I did have Max Greyserman backed. Frustrated. Like Max probably will look back and go, "Oh, damn! You know, I really should have got that putt in 18, the 9-footer that he missed to win it, to not force it into extra holes." So obviously that's the putt he missed, and he parred. We saw Chris Kirk, Aldrich Potgieter, and Max go to the playoff. Chris went out in the second hole, I think it was. And then we saw 2 more holes play out with Max Greyserman and Aldrich Potgieter. You know, Max is very unlucky, to be fair. Putts were like going so close to the hole. He ran at most of them. He gave them a good go. And, you know, he'll have his day. A quality player, in my opinion. But it's just a wee bit unfortunate. I think, you know, karma sort of works itself out. You know, I'm a big fan of Aldrich Potgieter. I wasn't on Sunday night, mind you. I was. But anyway, that's how it goes. I did have Aldrich backed at the Mexico Open earlier on the season from the start. I think it was big odds, and I think it was like 200 to 1 or something like that. But Brian Campbell obviously got the win there and was very unfortunate in the playoff as well. So it does, you know, stuff does go around in full circles. And I remember he was at the Nedbank as well. He did 2-shot lead going into the final hole, or 1-shot lead, and he double bogeyed and missed out even on a playoff there last December. Smokes the ball, absolutely drains the ball. It's incredible. 377 he hit one of his drives there last weekend. Just phenomenal. Longest hitter on the tour per average. Unbelievable player. But there is little areas he needs to sharpen up, and I think we're even seeing that. He changed his clubs last week. I think he moved to Titleist T200s, and it obviously made the difference. The one concerning thing was, and it was mentioned on the Sky broadcast, that, you know, there was a lot of chit-chat with the caddy, but maybe that's something that suits him. I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, but they seem to be over-analysing. Maybe it was with the new clubs or whatever, but every single shot. But, you know, fair play to him. Really good win. I think we're going to see a lot more from him. Obviously, I think he won the British Amateur Open a number of years ago as well. So, you know, phenomenal talent from South Africa, and the youngest ever, which is no mean feat with the amount of players we've seen come out of South Africa over the years. So congratulations to Aldrich. Go check out the press conference. Do like, subscribe, share, all that. We have a lot of people, as I said, watching the videos, but we need to get the subscriber numbers up, so share all that. It takes a lot of time, and it's it's a long process. So the more the merrier. Do appreciate it. So yeah, really good stuff last weekend. And, you know, looking back a little bit further, we weren't here last weekend, as I mentioned, or last week, should I say, but Keegan Bradley won the Travellers Championship. He was a selection on the show. I think we had 3. We had Keegan Bradley, we had Russell Henley, and we had one other player that came top 10 as well. So 3 of our players, if you had them backed, you would have won big bucks, because Keegan was 60 to 1 going into that event. And, you know, no surprise to me, held in there. I think Tommy Fleetwood, as we know, sort of threw it away. When's he ever going to get over the line? I think that's 51 top 10 finishes, and he's never won on the PGA Tour. You know, just the body language is just, it sometimes is just really off with Tommy Fleetwood, and you could see even going down 18 that he wasn't with it. And I think the real turning point there came on, I think it was the 14th hole when Tommy missed a birdie putt to go 4 clear and Keegan smoked in a 60-footer. Keegan never gave in. This is why I think the US are rightly going to go into the Ryder Cup as big favourites, because of Keegan Bradley and what sort of level of intensity he brings, that grit, that grindy nature. Never gave in, kept knocking on the door till he got his chance. He didn't lead the tournament, which is a crazy stat, until the tournament was over, which is just bonkers. But he deserved it. You know, Keegan knocking the door, and I know people were talking about the little Tommy's ball moved when he missed that, 6 or 7 footer or whatever it was in the final hole. But that's up to Tommy to pat that out and lay that down and make sure that's not there. He looked so hesitant on those final few holes. And again, it's just gone south for Tommy. And I think he definitely needs to get over that. But the body language just looks off a lot of the time with Tommy Fleetwood, to me. When the pressure is really on, you could see obviously the heartbreaking scenes where he basically wasn't even looking when Keegan put that putt in at the end to win the tournament. Incredible scenes. We've had a good couple of weeks. We've had Keegan Bradley, Russell Henley, whoever else, couple each ways. On the Travellers preview show we did, and then obviously last week, if you do follow me on Twitter, I post all of them if I'm not doing a podcast, but I will be doing a podcast every week. It's just obviously a couple of things have cropped up out of my control in the last number of weeks, and Niall McGrath 4, it is same as my Instagram handle there, so do hit us up there if you want to get them, because I do post them as well on my social media pages. Okay. So let's get into it. Big week this week, another one. It's going to be similar to what we saw last weekend, in my opinion. Davis Thompson is the reigning champion here, as you can see there on pgatour.com. 20 under 4 under par won the tournament last year, or 28 under par, should I say, won the tournament last year. And Michael Thorbjornsen came second. So Michael is actually one of the picks this week, and I think rightly so. If you believe in the hype of this guy, another guy like Aldrich, Potgieter, you're just sort of waiting for him to get over the line on the PGA Tour. Okay, I'm going to start off first. I'm going to go with this week. Jason Day is one of my picks. And the reason why, I look at Jason Day and you're just sort of going, you saw the Travellers Championship, he finished tied 4th, it was, at the Travellers Championship. And you can throw the stats out the window sometimes. This guy, I think he's 3 top 10 finishes here at TPC Deere Run. He's also just been playing good lately, and you could see he made a push in the last few holes of the Travellers Championship to really try and get in the mix. It was too much too late, but he has that in his locker. He's confident in his swing at the moment, driving the ball well. He was smoking it very close in the last few, dropping a lot of putts. He was hitting out of the bunker, landing shots all over the place. So I think, if you look 25 to 1, a guy who's good form, good solid form, coming in as well to the Open Championship, pleasing signs for him. And I think I'm not sure if he's playing next week in Scotland at the co-sanctioned Scottish Open ahead of the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. But a guy I'm liking, and I think if you look at the odds there, 25 to 1, it's a pretty good price for a guy of Jason Day's quality in this field. It's a decent field, it is, and I think the signature events are doing what they're supposed to do. Is guys who are sort of outside are going to play the so-called lesser events to elevate them up into those positions that get them into the signature events. And it is a strong field here this week in terms of not your biggest event in the world, but it was like last week, the Rocket Classic, should I say, that you're getting that sort of the feel the PGA Tour wanted with the signature events. I'm going to go Michael Thorbjornsen as well this week. I do like that with Michael Thorbjornsen. 4th here last year, tied 17 in 2023, 6th greens and regulations of the PGA Tour. This course is going to play a lot like last week, as I was saying. It's going to be less penal out of the rough. A little bit more undulating around the course, but very, very similar. Medium-sized greens for the Tour. And just the sort of form Michael Thorbjornsen's been in. 4th last week at the Rocket. 4th here last year, 17 to 2023. I really like that. At a return of 33 to 1, I think you'd be mad not to have a little look at that if you're having to play this week on the PGA Tour. Luke Clanton also really poor finish last weekend for starting so well, being in the mix, 66, 67, 69, and then a horror final round from Luke Clanton, who's only turned pro. Very deceptive stat, really, if we're honest about it. Only turned pro a couple of weeks ago. But I really like what I see from Luke at the moment. From a guy so young in his official PGA Tour career, he's had like 3 or 4 runner-up positions, and he was runner-up here last year, is why I really do like him. And he was on 59 watch, I believe, at one point as well. Exceptional numbers, 3.19 strokes gained off the tee here last year. Phenomenal stuff from Luke Clanton. An exceptional number. So that's why I really like Luke this week. And a guy, I think, again, we're in that sort of realm where we're looking at guys, when are they going to get their first win? A lot like Aldrich, Potgieter. The PGA Tour is in such a strong place at the moment, in my opinion. You've guys, as we know, that can, such a ridiculous number of guys that can win every week on tour. And I do like Luke's chances here this week. If he can just get that last round out of his mind, he'll be all gravy. He'll be all come tomorrow in Illinois. Also, the odds are down there if you want to have a little look there from sports books. Lucas Glover, I think Lucas won this event in 2021, finished tied 9th at the Travellers last time out for him. Didn't play last week, obviously. Good signs here. He tends to go well on the higher or the lower scoring track, should I say. Won this in 2021, tied 23rd here last year. Showed really good ball striking, as he generally does most weeks. The putter is the issue a lot of the time with Lucas. So I believe he's going to be knocking on the door here this week at the Travellers Championship. What? Bloody hell. Us Irish talk too fast, don't we? We really bloody well do. But I do like that, I have to say, in terms of a 40-1 price. Top 5 each way. And each way bet, definitely, in my opinion, on Lucas Glover. Also, I do like Matt McCarthy. Again, a guy who's he's been so consistent. You're just sort of waiting for him to break out of the blocks and sort of get into that top 5. He was tied 19 last week at Detroit. He's had finished in the top 25 times over his last 10 appearances. He's missed a cut in there a few times as well on the tougher courses, but this looks like a track that might well suit him a little bit better this weekend. So I'm liking what I see from Matt McCarthy. I think as well, if you're looking at a price 60-1, bloody big price in my opinion. And I think you want to be pretty insane not to have a little look at that. So, what am I doing? There's Keegan Bradley. I don't know why that's coming up there. What am I looking at? I'm messing up stuff here anyway. But I do like that from Matt McCarthy. I think he's been pretty impressive. Do like subscribe all that. You see it there. So he's definitely on my list this week. And also, we're going to put, and I'll tell you what another bet I like with this. Sammy he was on 59 watch here last year in the first round at the John Deere Classic. I think he had a 61 in his first round here last year. And I think 75-1 is quite ridiculous for a guy. You're going to get Sammy a big odds last week. Just finished, again, it was so bunched to tied 19th. It was about 10 guys there, a couple more, and you're getting each way at 90-1. Same again here this week, 75-1. Massive odds for a guy like him. So, I think Sammy's just too big to turn away here. A guy who attacks everything. We've talked about this. Not great off the tee, below average on tour, but again, not too penal in the rough. He'll attack everything with his irons, and he'll do exactly the same with the putter. And if, we had a week here last year where they all dropped in the first round, if you get a little bit more consistency in his game and keep that sort of number as low as possible, he could well be in there. And there's another bet. This is a bonus one I looked at, and I only checked it out this morning. Sami Valmaki to finish top European. I think this is probably the bet of the week, to be honest with you, in my opinion. 17-2 to be top European. Really good price, in my opinion. There's my alarm going off. Turn that off. But I love that price for Sami Valmaki on Thursday. I think it is really good if you just look at what he did here last year, and I advise you to go check out some of the shots he hit there last year if you can get them up. Unbelievable stuff from the Finishman. Going to take a quick little break, and then I'll be back to talk about the rest of sort of some of the stories this week heading into the John Deere Classic, and also just have a little look at the qualifiers from the final round of the British Open qualifying, which took place yesterday. Back in a few.
All right.
Sorry to pop off there for a few seconds, but just a few more bits to get through. So basically just round it off. Yeah, my one and dones really for this week would be Jason Day and Michael Thorbjornsson. I think the others really good each way value as well. Luke Clanton, Lucas Glover, Matt McCarthy, and Sammy Valmaki. Just I think there's really good value on any of those bets this week. So looking forward to it. Should be a good one. But obviously, just going to keep the odds up there for the moment. If you want to have a quick look, if you're doing any of your punting now, so keep up for a sec. But I want to just mention a few things that have happened this afternoon. We have had news while I had to take a call there a few minutes ago unexpectedly, but during that break we had Gary Woodland named as Ryder Cup vice captain. That's a good call from Keegan Bradley. Another guy I think we've seen his story inspirational. If you've watched Netflix, incredible, overcome that the brain surgery, really touching story. An inspirational character in the PGA Tour, a guy who's really bounced back, and he's admitted that he was really, really gravely ill at one point. So yeah, I think that's a really good call from Keegan. A lot of players do look up to Gary Woodland, and he's a very, very popular player on the tour, and could be a really, really good call from Keegan Bradley for the Ryder Cup later this year. Good stuff. I think that's a good one from Keegan Bradley. Also, Open qualifying wrapped up yesterday over across the water in the UK. 5 from each. Some really big names missing out again, as we always hear. Graham McDowell is obviously the biggest casualty, and it is unfortunate because I know Graham has a hole named after him on not the Dunluce Links, the other course that's up there in Royal Portrush, and it's his hometown. He's going to be missing out. It is a real shame, and I know he was good. I think he put up a post there earlier on, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. And he didn't do enough, obviously, last week at Live Dallas to earn a spot. So, it's just really unfortunate for Graham. And, it's a sad one for a lot of fans here in Ireland. Will be disappointed that Graham won't be playing in that. But that's life, unfortunately. Some really unbelievable stories as well. I think the 5-man playoff, got to see the end of that on social media clips and stuff like that yesterday afternoon. It was at West Lancashire. Unbelievable stuff in that playoff. What is the guy's name? We have it here. West Lang 20 places. It was Richard Tedder holed out in the 4-man playoff. There was 2 places up for grabs in that playoff, and he holed out to put Ronan Mullarney out, one of the Irish guys, which is pretty disappointing for him. But imagine holding out in the playoff. I think it was about 80 yards. Unbelievable shot, though. 20-year-old, first ever Estonian, 20-year-old amateur, first ever Estonian to play in the Open Championship. So incredible stuff, incredible scenes. And the YouTuber as well, Richard Finch, came up short. Heroic effort. I love his videos. I think he's one of the best YouTubers around. Seems like a really good guy as well. Big following. So unlucky for him as well, but some big names getting through as well, we have to say. Lucas Herbert, we obviously had Lee Westwood getting through, played really, really well. Angel Hidalgo, if you watch the DP World Tour, mad swing that lad has, but fair play to him for getting through as well. And obviously Liv Golf's Dean Burmester got through at Dundonald Links. Big day action. It's like the longest day in golf, the US Open, the final qualifying as well. Very, very similar. 36 holes, number of Irish guys in the mix. None unfortunately got through, but that's as I said, the way the cookie crumbles. So really interesting stuff. We've already gone through that story, but I'm really looking forward to the Ryder Cup later this year. So I'll be all over that. Do hit us up on do hit me up on social media. There we are, Niall McGrath 4 on X if you want to follow me there, and also on Instagram if you want to follow me on my Instagram. Where are we? Boom, boom, boom. Niall McGrath 4 as well on Instagram. So yeah, really looking forward to the weekend's golf. Plenty of action, as I said. I'll go through them just again briefly if you want to have a punt this weekend. Jason Day, Michael Thorbjornsson, Luke Clanton, Lucas Glover, Matt McCarthy, and Sammy Van Mackey. Coming off 2 really good weeks as well, if I do say so myself. Hopefully we'll get some better majors. My majors have been a disaster this year. So hopefully we'll get something just couple of hundred miles up the road in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, listen, really looking forward to the golf this week. And as well, sorry, I want to say one more thing. And I have to call this out because obviously I was harsh, and rightly so, on Rory McIlroy a couple of weeks ago and Shane Lowry for smashing up, golf clubs and tee boxes, smashing up the ground or whatever. But Brooks Koepka, crazy. That was probably the worst one I've seen, where he smashed the tee box nearly into the crowd there at Live Golf Dallas before pulling out. That's just fucking wild shit. And cursing again. There we are. Every time I curse, I'm going to have to do this. Really just stupid, petulant behaviour. Snap your club over your leg instead of hitting a tee box and could injure someone, flying into the crowd. Really pisses me off, that shit. Needs to stop. Big fan of Brooks as a golfer, but that kind of behaviour doesn't cut the mustard with me and a lot of other people. I think there should be big fines. I think there should be suspensions even in worst cases if you break up the course or hack up the course, other people have to use it. So really does my head in that. Okay, yeah, as well, also, just before we get out of here, on the YouTube channel, as I said to you guys at the start of this, if you are, there we are, I'm on the channel here, I'm just going to click back to that. So if you're getting value out of the show, do subscribe, do hit all the relevant buttons there, like, share, whatever. As I said, I'm going to be launching out more segments in the coming months. So yeah, it's going to be been a fun ride so far, and the videos are doing great. So check them out. Plenty on this week as well. Plenty more to dropping this evening. Just see, I was on the calls earlier on, the conference calls with Max Homa. Was very interesting what he said. Toxicity in social media, and he can't wait to get away from golf later on at the end of this year, which was really interesting for me to come out and say something like that. It just shows you where his head's at. Obviously, he split with Joe Griner there recently as caddy, and he just doesn't seem in a good place at the moment. Also, Zach Johnson was there as well. That was pretty interesting. And a couple of more other. Davis Thompson was speaking around last year's champion. So they'll be up on the channel by the time this is up on Wednesday evening. So from Niall McGrath. Oh, sorry, the golf is on Sky Sports Golf here in the UK, and it's on ESPN and CBS over the weekend in the US if you're listening there. So yeah, listen, let's hope we have a couple of winners, maybe do something on Sunday, not guaranteeing anything, but if we're in the mix, I think we have to do it one of the evenings. I'll sit down with a couple of Guinness and we'll have a bit of a crack and enjoy the final round if we're in the mix. I'm going to start doing that because that would be, I'd enjoy that as well. So yeah, from Niall McGrath, it is good luck and good night for...
All right.